Good afternoon, morning, whatever time it happens to be from my zoo cage. Nicest zoo cage I had. It almost seems to me that there was this, and I know this is paranoia, which is crazy, but in my case, there's a lot of circumstantial, coincidental patterns of gravitational flow around my body of work. So, uh, it seems to me that when I was dragged down to these low levels, and then I was rescued. Oh, thank the Coast Guard! Rescued from but put on a desert island to where I can't grow taller than my $10,000 yearly stipend mentality. So the question is, was there any sort of conspiracy? I know that's crazy talk, but in a world that doesn't make much sense, you never know. So the question this is the nicest, almost the nicest place that I've lived. The question is, can I ever escape? And I've come to the conclusion that there's so much guilt in my case that everybody is turned against me to where there's nobody. It's like a big V. I'm at the bottom, pressure coming from all sides, or triangle, or pyramid, upside down pyramid. Pressure's coming from all sides on top of me to keep me pressed down and keep me small and shrunk. So the only answer to me, and this is my suicide video messaging, and one of a few, I guess. I don't know. I've made some notes about, and I'll go over some of my other plans. I've written 2 books in the Fleur de Lis series, and I'd like to write the third, but my change in medicine has made writing next to impossible. So I wrote the outline, and it contains a lot of these art flyers that I was going to write into with agendas such as the metamorphosis, new free religion, belief in supreme beings that are too big for our minuscule minds to comprehend. And I'm trying everything to escape. I've actually started going back to church and trying the communion route, and I was going to go try and do confession and to unburden myself with the sins, because of course I'm the sacrificial lamb token. I've got to prove everyone justified, so I can't escape any normal way. Not to mention, I am still basically alienated with no friends or family that are other than keeping me captive in this zoo cage. There is no connectivity. I try all sorts of things. I've been running an ad in the Craigslist for 6 months now. Met nobody. I met one guy. The funny coincidence is he was the manager of 39 Rue de Jean before I was manager of 39 Rue de Jean, and he actually worked at Belfort's where I was manager at Belfort's. And I met him walking. He lives over on Lincoln Street, and it's not even I wouldn't even. I mean, I go in the mornings when I'm walking. I stop and talk to him for 5 to 15 minutes, no matter however long my voice holds out, and that's another question. So he's about the only person I even talk to these days after I was banned from going to Gallery Espresso, where I used to go and talk to people. So I honestly don't think I'm ever going to escape. There's too much guilt in the media. I've gone through the entire book of literary agents, the guide to literary agents. I'm going through it a second time and trying to do. All I get is rejection after rejection. I've sent it hundreds of emails with my point. So I changed it into another book project, and we'll see if I get anywhere with that book project. But I really doubt it. I doubt I'll get anywhere with anything. That was one of the reasons I think that when I was alienated, or it's as if I had been beaten down so small to where I can't meet competent people. I'm relegated into the low levels. And it goes back to when I had that tattoo of the Omega tattoo. And so I got the Alpha tattoo and the purple star tattoo over the Omega tattoo to hopefully change. I'm trying everything I can. I don't want to, I'm not ready to die, but I'm just bored to death sitting here. I can't even watch TV anymore. It's so horrible. I mean, and I know it sounds pathetic in my existence, but it goes back to Alexander the Great Expectations. I've got these grand plans and great expectations that I'm not able to fulfill, and living this menial existence is just horrific in nature. And I know it's pretty wimpy to face what the whole scenario is. So my notes on my suicide video for the suicide video: curing what makes me great. Yeah, that goes back to the book part. I finally, after years of struggling to find a literary voice, I finally found a literary voice. And I wrote a book, and I wrote some short stories in I think it was 2015 or 2016, before I started the medication. I was in Tybee Island, and this was what got me started. This lady whose husband was on Adderall, but he didn't take it. He just had a prescription for it, and so she had bottles of pills. So she gave me 10 of them. I told her my plight. She gave me 10 of them. So I took a pill and I started writing short stories, and it was the best writing I had ever done. So I wrote 5 short story chapters to the music festival thing on Adderall. And then I was, for the first time, pumped about my writing. I was excited for the first time. I had found a voice. And I knew it wasn't and I was still, when I look back upon it, I know the potential that I have within. If I would have had the big picture mentality, and like I have today in these works, and the politicalization and the philosophical endeavors and things like that, I could have really made that book. So I started writing a book, writing chapters for a novel, a gangster novel about a playboy guy and girl. It's a love story, sloppy modern love story, and they go to LA, and it was the best thing I had ever written by far, even though I didn't write it under Adderall. But if I would have written it, meanders a lot. It's very poetic, lyrical. But if I would have, I think I see the potential. It's like looking at somebody and saying, hey, this guy can run a 4.240. You see the potential there if given the opportunity to properly manage my brain. So soon after that started, I started the injections, and I was it cured my talent. It took years for me to be able to even to write anything, and then finally I started writing small pieces and putting pieces together, and then finally one day last year, after I got put on Adderall, I overpowered through the medicine and wrote 6 books and finished everything and got a self-publisher site. So they cured what makes me great, and I want to try. I know the potential that I have within me, and one of these days I would like to escape, and I would like to see what I was capable of with a plot consultant, somebody to, actually come up with, maybe an agent is someone who could help direct me on what is marketable. I have ideas that I would like to, and then an editor, because I've never had an editor. I've never had a co-writer. I've never had basically any feedback on anything. I'm just doing. This is all in my make-believe imagination. So I would like to try to see what I was capable of on just Adderall, and see if I could be a world-class literary talent with the right shape of going into a book and trying to see what I could create. That's a dream of mine. I doubt I'll ever get there, because doctors are gods, because they can prescribe medicine. It makes them super high class, and I've got to worship the doctors, and doctors rule Savannah, and the doctors rule my house, and because I was unable to make enough money to be independent and self-sustaining, so I've got to follow the doctor's rules. So Founders Podcast, Genius. Oh yeah, there's a podcast that I found called the Founders Podcast, and genius is able to create work and cure the meds cure the potential genius in me. It is almost as if the meds. I listen to a lot of these. What makes these people genius? And true, they have natural abilities, and it also seems that there's always people around them that are helping them progress. And with me, I have nobody. I'm all alone with no resources. The only resources is my laptop and the internet. And I have no friends. I have no family. Ignores me. They just want me to sit in the cage until I die. And I have no. And they all are successful people with tons of resources. But these geniuses of this Founders Podcast, and I've listened to a bunch of them so far, and it seems that they're able to create worlds out of, but there's always it always seems that there is somebody that helps them out, or they get advice from people. I've never gotten advice from anybody. My only advice is sit in a cage till you die, boy. You a zoo animal. We ain't smart enough to be grown up. It's pretty fucking pathetic. Smart doctors or pill pushers? The Brilliant Minds, the show on NBC, which should be a grand. It's about this this brain doctor, and he delves into cases where, in my case, it's all about you take the meds, and we don't care about your, what caused the case. There's no case study or anything like that. I'm not allowed to go to therapy and discuss it. And not to mention that if I do start acting crazy then they might take me off the Adderall because that's a crazy pill, paranoia there. So I might get stuck without that. And while I'm trying to escape the zoo, Adderall is big help to try to focus, even though it's waned on it. It's not. It's lost its power drastically. So I've been trying for a long time. Great minds get assistance. I never got any assistance. Actual alienation. Yeah, it's been my problem all along. Surrounded by incompetence, or if allowed to be around people at all, it's always just the smallest members of society. And it's because I don't have any validation of my evaluation structure of any measurable success in society. So I have no credibility. I'm just a theoretician, but I am a great mind in my estimation because of all the big ideas that I came up with and all the plans that I've tried to come up with. And so I've been trying for a long time, and I get no assistance or no feedback or anything. I sent this stack of pages of big ideas to my entire family, and nobody said a word about it. It was just ignored. To sit in your cage, boy, and be a zoo animal. I don't understand their mentality. They think it just doesn't. Are they not smart enough, or they have a different type of intelligence than the jobs market that they're better at? I suck at the jobs market because I've always had shitty jobs. I've never had a good job that I liked. I've never had a job that I was good at, other than, I got rooted into this specific place, and that's why I got fired from like 75 jobs and beat down. Creativity vanished like it was. And the crazy meds cure creativity, and even though I'm still pretty good at coming up with ideas, but my creative mind, I listen to a lot of book tapes on Spotify, and what I noticed about great writers is they have these just as meandering. The story meanders, whereas most of my stories are hard fact, cutting big ideas and things like that. Optimally managed mentality to be written best, to be writers best possible. Brilliant minds, joke butchers, yeah, same thing. Mediocrity's bubble. Yeah, stuck in the mediocrity's bubble. Great expectations. I guess the great expectation goes back to Alexander, the great expectations and big plans to transform and modernize Louisiana, but they seem to be too drunk or stupid to see that I'm trying to help. They've completely sold their soul to national party politics, who don't really care. So my big plans don't necessarily. I came up with the idea for a global debt conference. I've been publicizing on Twitter a lot or X, about there being a catastrophic global debt crisis approaching to Interpol or the Nobel Prize Committee or Europol or any of these big organizations that hopefully have an idea. My idea is to, in New Orleans, because New Orleans is underwater, kind of like the global economy is now, and if a storm hits, it's going to be could be a Great Depression, unless you act ahead of schedule. So the Global Debt Conference would address the problems of debt all throughout the world. It would be representatives from all these nations with debt would show up and formulate plans for solving the problem, rather than keep on trucking like the current mentality. And we just had our election, and it was all about promises that cost more money, that are going to increase the deficit. and nobody addressed the debt crisis. They're screwing the kids as usual. So this global debt conference in New Orleans, of all places, would give New Orleans some much needed global credibility to factor that in with the Louisiana Latin America Economic Evolutionary Conference, and New Orleans becomes a major global player, which is what I was trying to accomplish. So you come up with plans to solve the problems before it turns into a catastrophe. Then there's the lack of credible success, just ideas that are really worthless without concrete proof. Yeah, I can't do anything with it. I mean, I can't get an agent, so I can't sell books. I send out a lot of emails. I get no responses. I'm just ignored, basically. I'm ignored to death. It's going to be I should put on my tombstone, ignored to death, because I am unable to, I don't have the resources to do anything. I have very little money. I can't hire anybody. I'm only allowed to earn $10,000 a year, which is a joke. Goes back to me wearing shorts to my high school graduation. I was short in life, and I'm shorter than everybody else. So, the debt slave beauty shop whipping post theory, parasite, mooch, bull, all these different things. Because I'm a debt slave, they find ways to utilize me, and to make it. Always they have to desecrate my name, use it against me. So beauty shop now. So I'm the whipping post beauty shop. So I'm a mooch, of course. Cows moo in Texas is a longhorn state for cattle. So. Of course, you got to parasites, pair of horns, and the whole notion of calling somebody bull when in actuality bear is all full of bull. So because I'm unable to do anything to create the celeb fame launch, writing potential is allowed to optimally manage talent. The suicide, hellbound. Oh yeah, I don't believe in that suicide is. I don't actually know if I believe in a heaven or hell. I'm stuck in this atheist bubble, even though I'm trying to utilize religion to escape this hell on earth that I've stuck within. So. New religion believes suicide is justified. I don't understand. I guess I've grown. It goes back to the great expectations. I've got now, especially. I've got such grand aspirations and great expectations that it's tough to just be stuck in this menial existence of nothingness where my entire day is wake up early in the morning, watch Squawk Box on TV to get the news and what's going on in the markets. Then I go for a walk for 30 minutes. And if I go for 2 or 3 walks a day for 30 minutes at a time. I listen to books on tape, and I listen to podcasts of founders, and I listen to Acquired, which is about. I'm big into Silicon Valley and all these businesses and how people start companies. And I've got ideas, but I don't have any. It's basically just me with no resources. And I tried sending emails to people. I tried phone calls. I tried everything. I can't get anybody to respond. I'm just ignored. So I try meeting people when I'm out and about, walking around, or I hand out copies of my flyer, and I get no responses, and it's just ignored to death. That ought to be on my tombstone. And I don't necessarily know how to escape, and I was rescued to, that's the fucked up part about it. My life before this was so pathetic and beat down and massacred that I got rescued here, but I'm stuck on a desert island by myself, and I can't grow any bigger, so I can't escape, because I've got to save those people that screwed me over, are these idiot fraternity brothers of mine who ignore me. They're the worst friends I've ever had. I mean, basically nobody will even speak to me anymore because they think I'm either crazy or I'm a mooch, or, because I got beat down so bad by Baton Rouge that alienated, whittled away my friends and family. So now I'm just left alone, and nobody, and that's part of the reason part of the problem that's driven me mad is being alienated for so many years with such a vibrant, I was trying to become a writer all these years, and writers have vibrant imaginations and these vast creativity. And so then I started uncovering a conspiracy that there seemed to be patterns of coincidental evidence into. So I then started uncovering and came up with all these conspiracies. Then I got mad because my life is so shitty and everybody ignores me, and I just was lashing out. My madness is actually lashing out at my inability to get anything accomplished or do anything. It's always shitty job after shitty job that I get fired from, and I'll make an acquaintance. I'll have a few acquaintances. I haven't had a real friend since like 2003. I haven't had a girlfriend since like 1999. I haven't had a girl that was a friend since 2003, 2004. I've been basically alienated, and it's driven me mad, and now I have to be medicated, which takes away my ability to be a literary genius in my estimation, theoretically, potentially, or my ability to create good work, and it's just frustrating as all hell. So I figure the media has ignored my plight. They ran all kinds of stories about a squirrel that was euthanized in New York City. Then they ran tons of stories about Liam Payne, who fell from a third-story balcony and got killed, and all these stories. So I came up with the idea, and I've been sending out these reply tweets that I'm going to jump from the top of the house and go splat. And will the media cover, or will I be erased from history? That's the question. Because if you look at my vast body of work, and somebody actually did a deep dive into all the work that I've accomplished, I've accomplished a lot of ideas, but I've accomplished nothing. I'm basically all imagination and no concrete proof of anything. So the question is, or I had the idea. I've developed a choking fetish because I was going to hang myself in Lafayette Square and put a big suicide note that for people to investigate my body of work, all my online work and all my books and things like that. And so will the media ever report, because they won't report while I'm alive for sure. The question is, well, if I die, will I be erased from history and never reach that pinnacle of credibility for being, which will then in turn make all the people that ignored me look stupid? So that's the question, and that's gonna be it for number 1 suicide note.